Good day everyone. Thank you for being here today. We are the group 1. I am Angel Timbol and I will be the first one to speak. And we are going to learn about phonetics and phonology. So let's start. Phonetics and phonology. So what is the history of phonetics? Let's read. The word phonetic and its derivatives began to be used in English in the 1840s, and although significant insight in the science of speech can be traced across a range of cultural traditions, the modern form of the subject is largely a 19th century European creation. Who was the inventor of phonetics? The inventor of phonetics is Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones was a London British, and he is a phonetician who studied under Paul Passy and professor of phonetics at the University of Paris. He was head of the Department of Phonetics at University College of London. He was born in September 12, 1881 in London, and he died in December 4, 1967 in age 86, and his nationality is British. The term speech science or phonetic science encountered in book titles or in the names of academic program and department are equivalent to phonetics in its wider sense, used to insist on the broad remit and scientific basis of the discipline. There are three types of phonetics: the articulatory phonetics, which is production, the acoustic phonetics, which is transmission, and the auditory phonetics, which is perception. Articulatory phonetics or production is the study of the organ or speech. As the title suggests, this type focuses in majorly on the production of sound. For example, the use of your tongue and lips in producing the word like moon, star, beautiful, flower, pen, and all the other words. Auditory phonetics or perception. This is the widest of all types of phonetic. This category covers the most important aspect. Perception. Auditory phonetics focus on the listener, understanding, and processing of the information shared with them. For example, when your teacher explains a topic in a class and you are able to understand it after listening to them. Let's forward to phonology history. What is the phonology history? Let's read. In 300 BC, Panini was the first person to study phonology. He created a grammar, a set of language rules for Sanskrit, an Asian Indian language. He also created a list of the phonemes in Sanskrit. He assigned symbols to present each phoneme. The symbols are still used today in phonology. The word phonology comes from Asian Greek, which is voice or sound, and the suffix logy words come from subject of discussion. The first person to use the word phoneme was the French linguist, the one who studied language. In the 18th, Jean Bodin gave the definition of phoneme that is used today. Soon afterward, he began the study of phonology and worked on the theory of phonetics. We are going to the next speaker. Keep watching. Thank you.
Hi guys, my name is Jess Ramos. Okay, so let's start. Have you ever wondered what is phonetics? Have you ever wished that you could pronounce the English phonetic alphabet more clearly and confidently? Okay, first of all, take a look at this example. A 2-year-old child going upstairs and he heard his mother say, "Hold on, hold on." Now guess what he responded? "I'm holding on, I'm holding on." What happened to this person? Why did he respond this way? A second example was about a person who was asked by his boss to write a sign in front of his house and that says, "Keep out, keep out." What happened? He made a mistake and he wrote, "Keep out, keep out." Why? What's the reason behind this mistake? Now, let's explain what exactly happened in these two examples. In the first example, the boy was still in his early stage of his first native language acquisition, so mistakes are something inevitable. While in the second example, English was maybe the second language of the man, so that's why the mistakes are also inevitable. The two examples showed that these two individuals couldn't tell at which sound the first word starts and at which sound the second begins. In fact, when you know a language, you can speak and be understood by the others who know that language. This means you have the capacity to produce sounds that signify certain meanings and to understand or interpret sounds produced by others. If you know a language, you have the ability to know the sounds that are produced by the individuals that you are talking to, and you have the unconscious ability to exactly know what is the last letter and the first word ends with, and the first letter or the sound that the second word starts away. So, what is phonetics? Generally, phonetics can be defined as the scientific study of speech sounds. It is actually a branch of linguistics that focuses on the classification and production of speech sounds. But let me rephrase it this way. Phonetics is not only about speech sounds. It is also about our human tacit knowledge that we have towards the sounds that we use in our languages. It is about the tacit or the unconscious knowledge that we have towards the cells that we use in the language we speak.
Hi everyone, I'm John Alfredo Lago and today I'm going to talk about the phonology. What is phonology? A phonology is the science of speech where it studies the history and gives some theory about how sound changes in every era or each century. But to give you some information, every day the sounds of words change. And also phonology gives us some knowledge how to use some tactics or give us some pattern how to use the sound of word. And regarding that also, it gives us some information that how can another sound or a different sound of word can be added to a different sound of word again to make a whole speech or a whole word. And also today we will talk about the two main types of phonology, which is the whole segment process and the modification type process. So the first thing is the whole segment process. This type of phonology is all about the sounds from consonant, semi-vowels, and also vowels. So here we will talk about the and also the whole segment process is how can we break a word and how can we separate it by a letter or by its sounds. So for example, the word fish, it can be break into three. Fish. So regarding that, we have the three sounds coming from the word fish, and that is the whole segment process. And the second one is the modification process or the modification type process is like we change the usual sound or the usual word to a different sound, like we're changing the language itself. Like for example, the word the boy or the man to a boy or a minor to a teenager, like that. So you can see the difference. We have to use a different language or different sounds to make it another word. or another unique word. So that is the modification. So I hope it helped, and that's all. Bye-bye.
What exactly is phonology? Phonology is the study of sound patterns within and across languages. Phonology, in more formal terms, is the study of the categorical organization of speech sounds in languages. How speech sounds are organized in the mind and used to convey meaning. Many linguistic disciplines, including psycholinguistics, cognitive science, social linguistics, and language acquisition, are related to phonology. Phonology principles can also be applied to the treatment of speech pathologies and technological advancements. Speech recognition system can be designed to convert spoken data into text. In this way, computers process language in the same way that our brains do. Machines go through the same process that humans go through when producing and receiving language. Siri, the popular intelligence system, is one example of a machine decoding language. The key distinctions between phonology and phonetics. Phonetics is concerned with the physical properties of sounds, whereas phonology is concerned with the abstract. In phonetics, we can see infinite realizations. For example, every time you say a P, it will sound slightly different from previous times. In phonology, however, all productions are the same sound within the language phoneme inventory. So even though each P is pronounced slightly different each time, the actual sound is the same. This highlights a key distinction between phonetics and phonology, because while no two P's are identical, they represent the same sound in the language. So, phonology is the basis for further work in morphology, syntax, discourse, and orthography design. Phonology also analyzes the sound patterns of a particular language by determining which phonetic sounds are significant and explaining how these sounds are interpreted by a native speaker. Phonetics is the study of how sounds are organized, human speech sounds, and used in natural languages. The phonological system of a language includes an inventory of sounds and their features, and pragmatic rules which specify how sounds interact with each other. Phonology studies how these sounds combine and how they change in combination, as well as which sounds can contrast to produce differences in meaning, which is phonology describes their phones as allophones of phonemes. Phonology is just one of several aspects of language. It is related to other aspects such as phonetics, morphology, syntax, semantics, and pragmatics. While phonetics is the basis of phonological analysis, phonetics analyzes the production of all human speech sounds regardless of language. Phonetics is the study of human speech sounds. Phonetics studies which sounds are present in the language. And phonetics simply describes the articulatory and acoustic properties of phones, which are speech sounds. So, there are three kinds of phonetics. The first one is articulatory phonetics, the study of how speech sounds are produced by the human vocal apparatus, while acoustic phonetics is the study of the sound waves made by the human vocal organs for communication, and auditory phonetics is the study of how speech sounds are perceived by the ear, auditory nerve, and brain.
Now that we have defined phonetics and phonology, we will now move on to vowels. Vowels, as we know in the English alphabet, consist of a, e, o, and u, right? Now, do you know what the IPA is? IPA stands for International Phonetic Alphabet. This IPA is a system of phonetic notation representing phonetic sound with symbols. So why is this important? This helps us to know the correct pronunciation of a word. For example, we came across a new word and we do not know what it means or how to pronounce it. So we look up into the dictionary, right? So, familiarizing ourselves with the IPA helps us to know the correct pronunciation of a word. In the IPA, we have phonetic sounds for vowels as well as consonants. But first, let us focus on vowels. Vowel sounds in the IPA includes monophthongs and diphthongs. Let's talk about monophthongs first. So what is monophthong? Monophthong is also called single vowels or pure vowels. This is a vowel sound that has a single constant articulatory position throughout its duration. Basically, there is one vowel quality as compared to diphthongs, which has two. Let's see these words for example. Come, here. Come, here. Next one. Far, show. Far, show. Come and far has one vowel quality. Thus, they are classified as monophthongs. Now, let's take a look at these monophthongs in the IPA. The first symbol is pronounced a, as in father or hot, body. The next symbol is pronounced a, as in law or daughter and caught. The next symbol is pronounced e, as in said, head, and says, e. This one is pronounced e, as in heat, or be, or receive. This one is pronounced e, as in him, or been, or women. This one is pronounced a, like in cat, or have, or bad, and act, a. This one is pronounced like in love, or blood, or trouble. This one is pronounced This is also called the schwa sound, like in sofa, about. It's pronounced like in book, or could, or pull, This symbol is pronounced like in burn, journey, worth, bird. This symbol is pronounced like in through, or blue, or do, through, blue, do. This symbol is pronounced like in on, or off, from, and not. So there you have it about monophthongs in the IPA. This is Janine Dampa, and it's time to move on to diphthongs.
Diphthongs. So what are diphthongs? Diphthongs are vowel sounds that has two quality. It is a sound formed by the combination of two vowels in a single syllable, in which the sound begins as one vowel and moves towards another. as in coin, loud, and side. Let's take a look at these words for example. Far, near, far, near. Far has one vowel quality while near has two. So let's move on to the IPA diphthongs to dig deeper. The first symbol is pronounced ow, ow, like in cow, town, and round. This symbol is pronounced o, like in though, show, and know. O. This symbol is pronounced oi, like in toy, moist, and boy. This symbol is pronounced I, like in height, my, and by. This symbol is pronounced A, like in fade, made, and gauge. Fade, made, and gauge. This symbol is pronounced U, like in feud, beauty, and union. This symbol is pronounced ear, as in here, ear, and beer. This symbol is pronounced air, like in hair, flare, and care. So those are the diphthong sounds in the IPA. There are 8 English diphthongs altogether. To make diphthongs, your tongue, lips, and your jaw on occasions have to move. Sometimes the journey your tongue makes is short and very controlled. In some of the diphthongs, it has to move a long distance in your mouth, involving a lot of jaw movement too. Now, let's compare the vowel sounds, monophthongs, and diphthongs. Let's take a look at these words. Far, feather, do, cat, up, near, though, no, toy, height, by. There are many more examples of these vowel sounds, monophthongs, and diphthongs that we are actually using it every day.
And as for the summary, my name is Mark Christopher R. Dava. Phonology, a branch of linguistics that studies how language or dialect systematically organize their sounds. Phonetics, the system of speech sounds of a language or group of languages. Therefore, phonetic is the study of human sounds, and phonology is the classification of the sounds within the system of a language and languages. As Mr. Ramos said earlier, in 300 BC, Panini was the first person to study phonology. He created a grammar, a set of language rules for Sanskrit, an ancient Indian language. And there are 3 types of phonetics: articulatory phonetics, acoustic phonetics, and auditory phonetics. Articulatory phonetics is the study of the organs of speech. As the title suggests, this type focuses majorly on the production of sound. Here, one studies the use of different speech organs in producing all types of speech sounds by the speaker. For example, the use of your tongue and lips in producing the words like moon, stars, flowers, pen, and all words. Acoustic phonetics, the study of transmission of sounds from the speaker to the listener. That is when the speaker says something, how the sound waves travel from the speaker's speech organ to the listener's ear. The study of this process of transmission comes under the acoustic phonetics. For example, when your mom calls you from other room and the sound waves travel from the another room to yours. Auditory phonetics, This is the widest types of all phonetics. This category covers the most important aspect and perception. After the speaker conveys the information and the listener hears it, his or her brain functions to process the information. In other words, auditory phonetics focuses on the listener's understanding and processing of the information shared with them. Like when your teacher explains a topic in class and you're able to understand it after listening to them. This example comes under from the auditory phonetics. Vowels and monophthongs. Vowels, a speech sounds made with your mouth open and your tongue in the middle of your mouth, not touching your teeth, lips, etc. Monophthongs, called a single vowel or pure vowels. This is a vowel sound that has a single constant articulatory position throughout its duration. Basically, there is one vowel quality. Vowels has a letter A, E, I, O, U, which sounds A, E, I, O, U. While in monophthongs we have letter A, E, I, O, U, which has its short sound and long sound. For example, the letter U has a short sound U, like under, umbrella, and we have its long sounds like U, like unicorn and united. Diphthongs, vowel sounds that has two quality. It has a sound formed by the combination of two vowels in a single syllable, in which the sounds begin as one vowel and moves toward another, as in coin, loud, side. Before the presentation ends, I would like to share the quotes of John Rowell. Communication works for those who work at it. That's all. Thank you.